Hello and thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, President Buhari meets with APC governors as party makes U-turn, fixes national convention for March 26th, and later on the show, civil society organizations protest in Abuja over Electoral Act amendment bill, want President Buhari to give assent without further delay. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Asuko James. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Let's begin the program on the sad notes by paying tribute to the co-author of the Nigerian national anthem, Professor Babatunde Ogunnaike, who died at the age of 65. Professor Ogunnaike was one of the 5 authors of national anthem. The Ijebu Ogun State, Abon Ogunnaike, joined John Ilechukwu, Eme Etim Akpan, Shota Omogwai, and P.O. Adelibigbe to author the national anthem. Julie, but remember that the labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain, and the national anthem and till today is like something the first thing any Nigerian will learn to sing.
Yes, and the interesting thing was that at the time that Nigeria needed this anthem, it was the youths that contributed the winning entries. What the Obasanjo regime did was simply to shortlist 5 of the best, and then they picked some lines from each person.
Okay.
So it's like they all contributed lines, but these were very brilliant young Nigerians in their teens. You can see this man. The anthem was given to us in 1978, 2 years after the pledge. 2 years after the pledge. And this man died at 65. So you can imagine how young he was at that time. You know, and the woman who wrote the pledge.
Done 44 minus 65.
Yeah, you know, and the woman who wrote the pledge too died last year. So these people are living, and the man who composed the anthem, Ben Odiase, died, I think, 2014 or 2013. So he was the head of the police band at that time. So, and this man ended his university education with a first class. You know, studied abroad, the University of Wisconsin. That's where he got his PhD in chemical engineering. You know, extremely brilliant man, and Nigeria will miss him.
Yeah, we'll miss him. I rise to call patriot. Nigeria,
you know, to serve our fatherland with love, strength, and faith. You know, if I sometimes we look at. I was watching one of the composers, one of the co-author on YouTube, and one of the things he said was those things that they wrote, you know, just like a poem, those things have not changed. There was a time the taps were running with water, potable water. They had the national carrier that was strictly Nigeria Airways. You know, he kept reeling out all the things that were there back then. He went abroad, came back, and things got worse. So he was not really happy. You know, so meaning that all the things they wrote as teens then, as youths back then,
as happy people,
as happy people, as turned upside down. In fact, why he was even very angry was because of how his own mom died. You know, how his mom died. That is Sota. You know, one of the how the mom died. Armed robbers. She went to the bank. Coming back from the bank, she was attacked and killed. You know, so these are some of the things that we have to look at. You know, the government has to also look at all these things. We need to go back to how Nigeria was, so that we'll be proud that
and then
when we are singing this anthem,
we're talking about history, how many of our young people know these facts? Who wrote the anthem, who composed it, who arranged and composed it? You know, we don't know who composed the pledge.
Yeah,
people don't know. how
the
some
designer
people
of the
can
flag.
how some people can sit down and imagine in their heads that history should be taken out of our school curriculum. I wish I understand. All kinds of people in our country.
Jide, you need to see if you are anywhere they're singing the American national anthem. You need to see
you can't go there.
how they get emotional.
You can't
People will be shedding tears.
Yes,
If you are watching
When
WWE,
Yeah.
WWE when they want to do their their main event, which is WrestleMania, they usually bring fantastic
Solo artists.
Yes.
You know, those ones who sing the national anthem, vary it in terms of their vocal range and all that. You will be moved, and you will see how Americans love their country. You will feel that love.
Yes.
When you see people shedding tears, they don't even want it to end. They don't want the singing to end. You see, we need to be like those countries in terms of the demonstration of our love for our country.
Honestly.
And our country too must not make us regret giving so much to the country. Because it always happens. So somebody playing for his country gets injured and is forgotten.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it's just
Somebody playing for his country
Injured in process?
in the motor park as this man Obikwelu.
Obikwe.
Ayo is worse when they are injured while on national duty and you don't care. That's what happened to Emeka Ezeugo, the one that Westhoff nicknamed the Destroyer, because he was a defensive midfielder. He broke his leg playing for the national team, and nobody went to him. The same thing happened to Gbade. Yes, you can even have a playing career if you do not invest or you do not manage your financial affairs properly. You can end up being bankrupt. We've seen even American artists, some of them bankrupt. But
a lot.
If somebody is injured on national duty, it's irresponsible to not take care of that person.
All right. Most times, legal and moral matters can be at loggerheads, such that a matter can be morally right but legally wrong. The Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit by the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) seeking to invalidate some provisions of the Nigerian Police Force regulations and reinstate a dismissed female police officer over pregnancy. In his judgment, Justice Inyang Eko ruled that there is nothing discriminatory or unlawful about the provisions in regulations 126 and 127. Hence, it is wrong for an unmarried female police officer to flaunt the regulations by getting pregnant in service. Jide, can you break this down?
Yeah, the matter had dragged on for so long, the Ekiti state government even got involved, you know, because somehow they made it look like this was an attempt to abridge our rights. But when you are joining the police or joining the army, you know what the law says. The regulations are there for you to see. You don't join the police blindfolded. You don't join the police without the knowledge of
some of those rights.
Yes. If it sits well with you, you go ahead, you join.
Read
This issue shouldn't be we shouldn't get emotional about these issues or to bring all kinds of funny arguments. Yes, those provisions had been there from the colonial era. You could say, okay, the colonial masters passed these things on to us. But there is a reason. They don't want, because these are security people, you have to be careful who they mingle with and all that. If women are allowed to simply get married out of wedlock, criminals, police women, criminals could get some of them pregnant and in the process jeopardize even security. So I think that in the end, whether it is traditional marriage that you opt for, you know that traditional marriage, the demands are not like court marriage or the rest of them. Whether it is traditional marriage that you opt for, you must do it the right way. As a policewoman, you must marry legally. You can't go and bring what's it called, the pregnancy from somewhere and expect that they will not complain. If they allowed a laissez-faire attitude to getting pregnant, to fester in the armed forces, we'll be in trouble. All these parades, you just see people with protruding belly. You know? Because it will not be a crime. People will just get pregnant anyhow. So the law is there. She knew what the law was before she joined.
As well, this reminds me of one, what's the name of this naval officer that is into comedy?
Yeah.
And people were complaining that he was locked and everything. And I asked my lawyer friend, Libros Oshoma, that look, he now told me about the Armed Forces Act. That look, for him to have joined the Nigerian Navy, he had surrendered some of his liberties, some of his rights, that it can't be like Mr. Macaroni again.
Yes, of course. It's just like it is a constitution, it's a rule. You know, the Nigeria Police Regulation 1968 has that as section 127. I can even read it. For pregnancy of unmarried women police, an unmarried police officer who becomes pregnant shall be discharged. Is written there.
Expressly stated.
That is it, from the force. And she shall not be re-enlisted except with the approval of the IGP. So, but it is expressly written there, shall be discharged from the force. And there's a reason for it. Because if there was no reason for somebody who is unmarried to get, don't forget, Ayo, there are some female police officers who are used for them to, get a suspect or criminals. So if, for instance, they get pregnant and eventually this happens, not on duty but outside, then it becomes a problem. So what the judge has simply done is to follow the rule books. I heard them saying something about the Nigerian constitution, that it's a constitution. But I read that constitution, I read it left, right, and center. But I've not seen anything that expressly says that anything that relates to this. Because if the Nigerian army, the forces that we have their own rule books, and they say, don't do this, just like the Navy guy. Don't go ahead and begin to show yourself on social media. Don't do things that are wrong. You are not supposed to. If you know that you are not going to be in the Navy, don't go. If you know that you don't want to be in the force, if you want to be a comedian,
it's very lucrative now.
Yes, of course.
Make your skits and
do your content and then make money.
Yourself.
Don't expose yourself. That was there was a time even the Nigerian army was saying that when you are on the field, the battlefield, do not even show videos. They have a reason for it, So
definitely.
This one should serve as a deterrent to other unmarried women police officers, so that they will know that if they have not seen this one, it is there in their books, so they should understand.
All right, moving on now. The spike in money ritual killings across Nigeria demands that drastic measures are required to reduce the menace. To this end, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has urged filmmakers to avoid money ritual content in their movies. The minister also directed the National Film and Video Censors Board to regulate the industry, as confession of some money ritual suspects reveals that they learned the heinous act on social media and in movies. It's as if the typical Yoruba video, typical English video, especially those ones, it's as if they don't have any other story to tell about us than money ritual, going to the herbalists, using the fetish power to achieve one or two things.
Well, maybe now that, we suggested it here, that content producers and
especially the National Film and Video Censors Board
should stop coming up all the time with these movies that depict us as people who are steeped in money-making rituals.
Is that the way we live our life?
It does not represent who we are in any way, because if that was the case many years ago, It does not. That's not how
Have you
the
ever
average.
visited an herbalist?
That's not how the average Nigerian thinks. The average
everything
Nigerian
herbalist,
can
everything.
hustle, but he does not think that the way to make money is to take a life and all that. So all those things. And we said, okay, census board, do your job. Do your job. Your job shouldn't just be simply to stop people from exposing, showing nudity in movies. You need to do your job. For example, there was a movie that was produced in Egypt, and a woman picked a banana, took from a bunch of bananas, and was trying to depict oral sex through using that single banana finger. But she was sanctioned by the census board. She was jailed. So, even in Indian movies, and they are the best when it comes to home videos. They are the market leader globally when it comes to home videos. The Indians will not do anything that suggests sexual eroticism, kissing and all that. No, they will not do that. They do a lot of love scenes, but they won't go as far as kissing passionately or exposing their bodies and all that. No, they don't do that. It's because there is a census board that is alive to its responsibility. So I'm happy that the minister has waded in now and said, see, census board, meet with the stakeholders. We don't want to see this kind of thing again. Tell them to remove scenes depicting money-making rituals and all that from their movies. So we expect that there will be some impact that this will have, because we've seen some of these boys who were arrested who said that they saw that they were motivated by watching these money-making rituals on TV. One boy who also took to kidnapping said it was in a Nollywood movie that he saw. He even mentioned one of the artists. Yes, that guy, he likes watching him, and he learned how to kidnap people by watching that guy's movies. So what we put out there for young people to watch have a way of affecting them negatively and even somehow leading to character reformation.
There's some of our producers and some of our writers are now very creative. I remember that when I saw the one on Netflix, The King of Boys. Do you understand? I know that, look, now we're getting to sitting down, write creative stories, not necessarily you have to end up with one ritualist.
No, Ayo, in terms of production, I think we are doing really well.
Yeah,
but I think we need, yes, of course. I think we need to improve on script writing, because most of
and plotting
and the plotting too. Most of the storylines are almost the same. Once they start, you know where it ends. And if you notice now, what they are doing is movies of the past. They are trying to do a sequel. Oh, because like Rattlesnake, for instance. They are bringing it back and say, okay, this person is now big. Is like, so all those things. Don't forget living in bondage. And the living in bondage in part 1, what we saw there, it had a little bit of ritual, whatever. And part 2, there was no change. So imagine if, for instance, back then that we watched Living in Bondage and now start seeing the same thing, somebody changing into a snake, somebody doing one thing or the other. If I am young, I will feel that is how to make money. I will feel, because whatever a child sees on TV is what he will feel that is the normal thing. You understand? So what the FGA has succeeded in doing, I know, because the directors, most of the actors and directors that I spoke with, they were angry. What I told them is, you can't be angry because we are living in a society whereby even the youth, they don't even want to listen to their parents anymore. And the only thing they rely on is social media and the TV. So it is for you, the actors or the directors and those who are doing movies to try and shape their thinking, because that is the essence of what you are bringing out.
All right. Like magicians, the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, is capable of conjuring up things to suit certain ends. Few hours after it wrote a letter to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, informing it of postponement of its national convention scheduled for February 26th, the party leadership has made a U-turn. The governor, Muhammadu Buhari, National Caretaker and Convention Planning Committee, announced that the national convention will now hold on March 26. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari will meet with APC governors in Abuja towards resolving the issues rocking the party. Somebody said it yesterday, Jide, that the Muhammadu Buhari Caretaker Committee, given the mandate to conduct convention within 6 months, that they've done every other thing apart from conducting convention. That's the mandate that it was given to go conduct a convention in 6 months. 2 years after, they're still looking for excuses, and it has been shifted again, making the record fourth or fifth time.
Well, the leaders of the party need to come together to save it from ruination. I can see that a group even petitioned the president that he should save not just they call themselves the APC Rebirth Group. They urge the president to save not just the party, but democracy in Nigeria. Yesterday when they wrote to INEC, they never mentioned convention. They simply talked about the zonal Congress. But given the backlash and the blowback, the negative blowback that came with that announcement, by 7 p.m. yesterday, they now told us that, look, that they were going to do convention on the 26th. APC has to be careful not to shoot itself in the foot, because legally there are timelines for all of this, all of these events in the life of the party, like primaries. For example, if the president were to give his assent to the Electoral Act, it means that they must do primaries between June and July. Because part of the provisions in the Electoral Act is the stipulation that primaries must be held 6 months to the election. And the whole idea was to ensure that litigations that we usually yes, at least we give enough time for litigation, so that that is a pre-election litigation, so that we do not then now kick somebody out of his job after he had won an election over a pre-election matter. But we've seen that happen, even in Bayelsa. What kicked the rebellion out of office was a pre-election matter, strictly a pre-election matter. It had nothing to do with the election that he won. And a few hours to swearing in, when he had already begun rehearsing but people had already been calling him Your Excellency and all that.
Inauguration committee
everything was set.
Even some people were about going to Bayelsa.
Yes. So at the end of the day, certain steps must be taken so that the APC does not run foul of the law. I'm wondering now, that if the president goes ahead to sign, that means they must do convention between June and July.
Okay.
Have we got enough time? I mean, you must do primaries before June. And have we got enough time? The answer is no. So,
Okay, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Keep it locked on TVC News. News and current affairs program, reaching you live from TVC News. Here, I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Asuko James in the studio, and we're looking at the intra-party crisis within the All Progressive Congress. Asuko, it's not looking like a party that's that ruling party, and it's looking like as if they're distracted. There are a lot of forces, a lot of power play, you know, within this party, and the center cannot hold.
Exactly. It's unfortunate that the APC is working in murky waters at this period, because these forces, there are so many contending forces. The governors are the ones that want to control the party. The original owners of the party, they also want to make sure that they control the party. But the central person that has refused to stamp his foot, perhaps he will do that today, is the president. And so many people are watching, you know, to see if the president will reign on these governors, the APC governors. There are some governors in the APC who have decided that they can take the other members of the party for a ride. You say February 26. Even that February 26, Ayo, most of us, I remember Babajide coming here on the 9th of January. He said that they won't even hold the national convention, and it happened.
Because the signs are not there.
Because the signs were not there. For you to even conduct a national convention, we know the process. At least if we do not know anything, we know how PDP we are doing their own. Because you announce the committees that will come,
set up those committees,
all those different committees has to be there.
Like
the guidelines,
reading this afternoon
exactly.
Now. You know, timeline for everything to happen.
Sales of forms, screening of aspirant, adoption of appeal, all those things. So that is when I now saw that a memo came from APC sending to INEC and saying zonal congresses. I was like, zonal congress, okay?
Yes, sir. When you sent me that
because
message,
we are shocked.
Which one is zonal?
I can, if they don't know. So there are some people who have even prepared for them to go for the national convention already on February. That is this Saturday. Unfortunately for them, perhaps the people who actually fixed that particular day, they knew that there was a by-election for that particular day, and it's a serious by-election.
From INEC?
Yes, which APC is going to participate. Now they have fixed it for 26th of March, Ayo. I'm also hearing that 26th of March might not even be visible. Perhaps if the president does not sign the Electoral Amendment Act, the Amendment Act, bill today, if he does not sign today, Ayo, we have 6 months. So what will happen is they can hurriedly say, okay, let's put everything together. In putting everything together, they want to now do the primary, the presidential primaries, or the people who are acting and pulling the strings can decide that they want to go for a consensus candidate. That is how I'm thinking for them. And Nigerians are all watching. We are looking because so many people, even PDPs, they released a statement today. They are not happy that what is happening. So, but
they're not happy. What's their own business?
No. See, no. Their own is no. They are not. Not that they are not happy. They are even saying, I thought you people say everything was rosy. So how come you people are changing date as if you are changing diaper? You know, from one date to the other. No. Fix a date. Do your own. We have done our own. Do your own so that Nigeria, because anything that happens to APC, Nigerians will be affected. They are the ruling party for it.
Party. Just like changing that evil day, but just it's compulsory they hold that convention this year.
No, they must. Whether they like it or not, they have to do it. But how do they get around it? This the so-called Progressive Governors Forum, because these days we don't even know who is a progressive or not. Somebody leaves PDP, you know, with plenty of baggage. He goes into the APC,
He becomes a
and he becomes a progressive. That's nonsense. There's no such thing. Everybody, you see somebody already diluted by corruption, calling himself a progressive. You know, so the APC, the governors call themselves Progressive Governors Forum. Well, they are the ones running the party. Their plan right now is to come up with a consensus arrangement. We cannot, that convention, they want to go to the convention with a consensus arrangement. And if you ask them, they are going to say, oh, after all, Baba Oyegun emerged as consensus, Shomole emerged by consensus. They are going to tell us. So the governors will sit amongst themselves and draw up a list for all the positions. That is the stage where we are now. So when they go to the convention on March 26,
just be
they are the owners of the party. They will just say, okay, this is what we have decided. So they will just go and ratify the list that they are compiled. So for a lot of the people today who want to contest for elected positions, the way the party is structured now,
nomination form,
and the way the governors are thinking, that contest, they won't allow you to take part in that contest. It's consensus that will happen. That's why they fought for it to be inserted in the constitution, and they got the president's buy-in. The president didn't sign until consensus was made. The issue initially was simply direct and indirect. But even when the National Assembly complied, the president still didn't sign until consensus was inserted. That is the goal.
This thing you are referring to as consensus,
yes,
it's not as if everybody will agree.
No, see, National Assembly knew that, look, at the end of the day, it will just be a few people deciding for everybody, putting their own people. That was why they wanted to say, okay, in order to achieve consensus in the real sense of the word, the contestants must in writing agree that this fellow that you are putting up, we agree that it should be the one.
Exactly.
Of course, now they don't want that.
They don't want that
clause. They said, okay, you remove it. We are not likely to see the president sign unless those stipulations are removed. They are not likely because it's the governors who are calling the shots now. It is what they want that the president does. So if we are looking for a party where everyone will feel comfortable to contest, will feel that there's a level playing field for everyone to rise to become what he wants to become, then you are wasting your time. It's the consensus arrangement that the governors are working towards, because they know that if they can achieve the consensus, the convention will be less rancorous. You know, they can achieve their aim. The plan originally was, let's have it done the same day. That's the presidential primaries and consensus. But the reason they wanted to do that was, by that time, it will be too late for people to be jumping up and down. So whatever is decided, you either accept it or you leave the party. But right now, they will still go ahead and push for consensus. That is what the Kebbi State Governor and his friends, that's what they want. Fire me, all of them. That's what they want. Consensus arrangement. Put their people. So the idea of the party belonging to the people, ordinary individuals within the party, is gone. The party belongs to governors now, and they are doing what they like. If they like now, by the 26th of March, they can tell us another story. That's the same thing they did.
Just because Mr. President allowed that system.
He gave them the latitude to run the
president has given them latitude.
The latitude. and that latitude is being abused now.
Exactly.
So the president needs to realize that latitude is being abused. You must make the APC an inclusive party, a party for every card-carrying member in the real sense of the word, rather than have a party that where the governors have become like the only owners. You know, they own the controlling shares of the party.
The word consensus seems to be under threat here, abused. By the time it's a fragment of the party, let's say the governors win the strongest block, irrespective of what other National Assembly members are saying or past NWC members are saying, that this is consensus.
Of course.
What is NWC? There's no such thing as NWC.
There's nothing like that again.
No, NWC.
Because by the time they
there's
come,
no neck, there's no NWC.
nothing, because they are that is why people have been angry about the tenure of the Buni-led committee. You know, the 6 months that when you came, they gave you 6 months. Stay there 6 months, conduct the national convention. You said no. So they had a plan. From that 6 months, they started from 6 months to 1 year, from another year like that. Before you know, it's almost 20 months. So they were just keeping their time, you know, knowing, okay, saying, let's just keep these people busy. Oh, we'll tell them we want to do what Congress will do. Oh, Anambra election is coming. We'll have to do that one. We'll do. National convention has come. Instead of them doing the national, they now say, no, zonal congress. Oh, no, it's not zonal congress anymore. You know, so by the time they finish all these things, people are already confused. In fact, most APC members are even more confused and tired now. But they don't have anywhere to go to. Because it's their party.
The party has been held to ransom.
Of course. Because originally, Ayo, every political party is supposed to be owned by the people, the members of the party, not a few cabals, in quotes. And it was Lukman that called them Yahoo, was it Yahoo politicians or what?
Some
Yahoo governors. You know, so if you look at it, that is what they want to do. So I wonder, when it comes to the national convention, will those same Yahoo governors now bring out names and say, oh yeah, this is what we want to ratify? And then some people who are in support of those same governors will go out and say yes. You know, so it's going to be, I don't know how APC will survive this.
They are going to decide, even those who will be part of the Congress.
Exactly, the convention, because so at the end of the day, it will not be everybody.
Yes, no, there are people who are likely to support the decision that they have reached, are the people who will be at the convention.
Course.
So to just be ratification
that is what they will do.
The list that they have
turned out. Some National Assembly members. All right, moving on now. A popular parlance in Nigeria says delay is dangerous. Some groups are raising concerns over the delay in the assenting to the Electoral Act amendment bill passed by the National Assembly. Following this delay, some civil society organizations embarked on a protest in Abuja and called on President Muhammadu Buhari to give assent to the reworked bill without further delay. Let's share the story by TVC News' Femi Akonde.
Stated in our statement last week that if the president fails to assent to the bill after or before 22nd, then INEC will have no option but to shift election dates. And it is too early in the day to start shifting election dates. Address all the legal uncertainties that will accrue or result out as a result of shifts in dates. I think this confusion is needless.
Mr. President must understand that Nigeria is the big brother in Africa. And Nigeria's role in terms of deepening democracy will help to protect democracy in the sub-region and also to avert coup in other countries. One thing Nigeria must realize that if we deepen democracy, sustain democracy, it will help to avert military uprising in other countries.
7 years after, is not able to do any positive thing towards addressing electoral fraud in Nigeria. And the implication of this is that he appears to enjoy what he has been complaining before.
Sign the bill, sign the bill. Mr. President, sign the bill. Mr. President, sign the bill.
We have seen a statement from the presidency, the presidential spokesman Femi Adesina, accusing this advocate of playing politics with the bill. He says the president will sign the bill in a matter of hours, but how long we do not know. 24 hours, 48 hours, 78 hours, we do not know. All he is saying is in a matter of hours. But the deadline for this provision for INEC to publish the date for next year's general election would expire today.
That poem says 6 o'clock, tick, tick. What do you have to do? Do quick. Jide, according to the design of the Independent National Electoral Commission, the presidential election is slated for February the 18th, 2023. And this is less than a year to that presidential election. And INEC, we have a comprehensive timetable. And for them to bring out that timetable, they need this Electoral Act to be signed. The consequence, if this Electoral Act is not signed for the 5th time in the life of this President Muhammadu Buhari since 2015, we might have be that unfortunate to use the 2015 Electoral Act to conduct the 2023 general election.
That would be really unfortunate to use every election cycle is meant to be governed by a new electoral law.
Peculiar to...
Yes, because INEC constantly will review its processes, evolving, desire to make our elections more credible and more transparent. But the cause of INEC is not helped by the reluctance to give us assent to the electoral bill. I think the first clue that Nigerians had that the president may not give his assent was the statement by Attorney General Malami that if he could see clear signs that some vested interests out of selfish desires planted some portions in the electoral bill, then he will advise the president not to sign. And this was what angered civil society organizations who felt that the Attorney General was taking these issues personal. And they cited section 174 subsection 3 of the Constitution, the 1993 Constitution as amended, which says, in exercising his powers under this section, the Attorney General of the Federation shall have regard to the public interest, the interest of justice, and the need to prevent abuse of legal process. It is the interest of Nigerians to have an electoral process that we can be proud of, that we can show to the world that yes, we are proud. We are proud.
Moving up.
Yes,
stepping up.
We are proud of our elections. We've not had elections that we can, even in this on the African continent, that we can show to people that yes, this is an election that we are really proud of. What are we doing? The card reader was introduced, but the card reader is being bypassed. The first time that we used the card reader in 2015, we just crossed the 50% mark. But we've had off-season elections since then. We had off-season election in Bayelsa, we had off-season election in Kogi and other places. The off-season election that we had in Bayelsa and Kogi, we recorded 16% compliance with the Electoral Act. That means we are going down. Something that went all the way to more than 50%, a little over 50%, not up to 60 in 2015. And you can see that 2015, the rate of litigation went down because people could see that the election was largely free and fair. But look at what happened in 2019. More people challenged the way the election went because they could see clearly that it was fraught with irregularities. INEC is trying to address all of this by coming up with a body of laws to govern the election. We are vacillating. So now, it is likely that the president will tell them to remove something again before giving his assent. Forget about what Femi Adesina says. He's not the president. He's not a decision maker. His own duty is, okay, when the deed is done, he's the one who will come out to rationalize why the action was taken. There are still, if the way Atoja Malami spoke, I know that that portion saying that people should resign at least 3 months, before election. I know that a good number of them, especially those in government now. Including the Attorney General, those of them who harbor political ambitions, they are not happy with it. They are not happy. So maybe that one now, or the issue of the clause on consensus, maybe for that reason they are going to say, oh, National Assembly, take this thing back, remove these 2 items, or forget about me signing. This is where we are.
I don't know if Mr. President is going to tell them, because what we are hearing that they are not happy with some portions of that Electoral Act. So if he's going to sign it with a caveat that, look, National Assembly, expunge this.
Who is not happy, Ayo? The only set of people that are not happy are the political class. Left for Nigerians who want to vote and want democracy to thrive, they are okay with whatever that comes from the National Assembly.
Yaga and this civil society organization, what they are fighting for, said for the first time, we are going to have electronic transmission of results from the polling units.
So that even when you go to court, you can always bring the result as evidence in court.
Yes, they are taking from CATA from polling unit to the ward to
and
one.
And they can be hijacked on the way.
Of course, you know. So just like I say, every 4 years is a time for us to always better our electoral laws, so that once we know, okay, this was the 4 years ago, in the next election, let's better it. It's just like what happened in 2020.
It's perfect.
You look at in America then, you know, the absentee voters, what happened? They now said, okay, fine, because we are disenfranchising some people, because that period the election will be holding, some people will be at work. So you just, whether you are at work or not, will bring, that is where the mail voting came. They
start voting early.
You vote early and then you go to work. You understand? So that is how they better their own electoral process. So if now we are asking the National Assembly has given the president for you to
what is wrong in resigning? I've seen people look at Governor Kaode Fayemi. Some of his people wanted to contest. They already left.
Banji has left.
Even in Benue, some of our friends who want to contest for governor and other positions, they had left since months ago.
Yes. And then
people like Teva Akase, he has already resigned and he has as the governor spokesman and he's campaigning. So what is even the big deal in resigning? Because those who are pushing for this, they want a level playing field. You can't be using your position in government to continue to cheat other people in the name of contesting election. What's even the big deal there?
Now, till when we start looking at this when we start looking at it beyond our interests and start putting the country's interests above all, I don't think we are going to reach a consensus on this, because everybody, there's an hidden agenda.
Yes,
you make law because of your vested interests. We're not looking at the bigger picture.
The thing is, when you say you make law, you are referring to the people who make the law. If you say you are waging a war against law because of your interest, because that's what we are seeing.
Exactly.
Okay, they said okay, for there to be consensus, let there be written agreements that those guys that we have What is wrong in that? What is this is what caused the problem in Zamfara when Oshomole claimed that there was consensus, and they came out to say no, there was no consensus. Where did we have the meeting? Tell us.
Exactly.
So I don't think it's even wrong to say, okay,
of course,
let the people be able to say, I voluntarily agree on this idea. Is this something that we will now delay signing over it?
Asuko James, thank you for your contribution, and the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Otaju, thank you for always being there.
Thanks.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow. Oh, before we go, let's say happy birthday to Alaja Sidikat Bosede Jamil, who clocks 80 today. She's the mother of one of our own, that's Alaji Mojid Jamil, and Right Honorable Akim Jamil, that's the Deputy Speaker of Ekiti House of Assembly.
Our mama is looking really smashy.
She's looking
really smashy.
MJ, we say congratulations to Mama and the Jamil.
Mama.
Yes, and we come and eat Igbimo rice now.
Yes, it's unfortunate that we are at work.
Okay.
If it was Saturday, we will have been there.
Okay.
But Mama contrived to do birthday on a day like this. No problem. We will still find a way to celebrate.
Congratulations to Alaja Jamil. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 and join us on Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. That's 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TBC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.